Welcome viewers, welcome listeners. This is yet another episode in our teleseminar series called Trust, Trauma to Trust, Recapturing Faith, Living a Life of Power, Passion and Purpose After Tragedy. And I am thrilled to welcome Tandy Elisala here. And as we've been doing for the rest of our interviews, before I talk more about her, we both will spend a minute just setting the intention that this interview does exactly what it needs to do for those of you who are listening and viewing it at the time that you're listening and viewing it. So the intention is that it helps you to move from trauma to trust, and it helps you to recapture your faith and set you on a path to live a life of power, passion, and purpose. So Tandy, thank you so much for joining us. What I know about Tandy is that she is an ideal fit for this summit because she's had multiple bouts with cancer, I think 4, and she's come through all of that. She's also had issue, she's had tragedies with respect to family members, and she's worked through that. So if there is anybody who can tell you that you can move from trauma to trust and live a life of power, passion, and purpose, it is Tandy. And she's doing that right now. She has a very active life of coaching and leadership training, and we will talk a lot more about it when we come to talking about her gift and her website. Tandy, thank you so much for joining us, and it's such a pleasure to have you. I know we had some trouble scheduling this, and I'm thankful to you for being patient with me for all of the mishaps we had with the scheduling, but we're finally here. Thank you.
Yes, I'm honored. I'm honored to be here.
So the listeners and viewers know by now that my first question to my experts, and these are all in this summit, everybody has been a life expert, which is the most important thing I think here, is to tell our viewers about your journey, and both your journey to trauma and your journey through trauma and through trauma to trust. So,
yeah. Yes. Oh, beautiful question. So, as you mentioned, I've been through cancer 4 times. I'm a 4-time cancer thriver. I'm in remission and healthy and happy. And it wasn't always that way. The last time that I went through cancer, it was more serious, more widespread. It was stage 4. It required surgery, chemo, and radiation, very intense therapy, daily intense therapy. And I did that. And then my doctors wanted me to go through a second round of chemotherapy. And I was so sick, oh my gosh, I just couldn't do anything. And it was excruciatingly painful. And after talking with my kids, well, one of the things that I developed was kidney failure. I was in stage 4 kidney failure.
Wow.
And I had severe anemia as a result of the side effects of the treatment.
Yeah.
And I decided that I wasn't going to go through another round of chemo. And at the time, one of the 3 tumors was gone and the other 2 were still there, but they had shrunk.
Okay.
So I decided to take matters into my own hands and to utilize the alternative healing modalities and energy healing that I've, used over the decades, and really trust that I was going to be okay. I had to trust that my why, that my mission in this world was bigger than cancer.
Yeah.
I had to trust in myself. I had to trust in God, source, energy, universal energy, whatever you call it. I had to trust in others, my family, to take care of me, my medical community. And I had to trust in life and the process of life. And 2016 was my year of trust. That was my theme, has been about trust in those 4 areas, and trusting myself, trusting others, trusting God, and trusting life and the process of life. And I just reached deep down and said, I know, and I feel, and I believe that I am going to be okay, and that I am going to be healed, and that I'm gonna be fine. I'm gonna live through it, and I did. And so trust has played a huge, wildly passionate role in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's almost, I think the decision that you made was that it was more important for you to trust yourself and know that feeling good, that you'd had enough of the feeling bad through the treatment, and that feeling good in your body was more important at the stage that you were in than sort of subjecting yourself to other people's opinions about what your body needed.
That is exactly right. Exactly right. And I mean, not knocking the medical community at all. You know, Western medicine certainly has its place.
Yes.
Yet, I really believe in the holistic approach, and because it was stage 4, I threw everything at it.
Yeah.
You know, I did, my energy work and the, traditional routes. Yet, the traditional routes made me sicker.
Yeah.
And my doctor wasn't very happy with me for saying, no, I'm not going to go through another round of chemo, because I felt as if had I done that, I probably would have died from kidney failure, or I would be on a kidney transplant list.
Yeah.
And I didn't think that was right in any way, shape, or form. That, we go in to the doctor, to whoever, thinking that they're going to have our best interest at heart, that they're going to look after us, and for one thing. But I know from my own experience, as well as taking care of both of my parents. I was a full-time caregiver for both of them, very unexpectedly, for 2.5 years.
Wow.
After my dad was involved in a massive 20-plus car pileup, and he suffered severe traumatic brain injury. And I was also seeing my mom through kidney failure and chronic congestive heart failure and cancer. And I saw firsthand with my dad's surgeons and my mom's that their focus is on saving lives. Yeah. It's not about the quality of life. It's about saving lives. Period. And while I'm sure that's not the case everywhere, all doctors, that has been my experience with the medical community, both as a patient and as a caregiver. And so I really had to say to myself, I had to trust myself enough to say, the doctors don't know me. They don't know my heart. They don't know my mind. They don't know. They're just looking at a diagnosis, and I'm on paper, and I know what's best for me.
Yeah. That takes a lot of courage. Yeah. Because you're up against a system when you're doing that.
Absolutely.
I've worked in cancer. I'm a statistician, and I worked in cancer research for a long time, for 11 years. So sort of not personal experience, but I sort of know where you're coming from. So tell us a little bit about, I think the viewers would like to know a lot more about the holistic modalities you tried.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, give us also a sense of, I know you've been coaching for some time now.
Yeah.
And, how all of this has informed what you do in your coaching. And so let's go there.
Okay. Great. So first part of your question was what holistic modalities did I use? I am a Reiki, certified Reiki practitioner.
Mm-hmm.
So I've used Reiki. Yeah. I have used tapping or thought field therapy.
Uh-huh.
I have used hypnotherapy or hypnosis.
Yeah.
I'm a certified hypnotherapist. Those are the main things that I did from a energy healing perspective, but I also had friends that were certified in like theta healing and past lives and and stuff like that. So I relied on them as well. And one of the big things that really helped me was gratitude.
Yeah.
I have had a gratitude practice for long time now. So it has served me well as a foundation when things get tough, when things are happening and I've got to pull into that reserve and pull out that faith and that trust, right?
Yeah.
And gratitude is always at the heart of that. And even during the most difficult days, I would silently affirm to myself, if I couldn't journal, I would affirm to myself, what am I thankful for today? And the real important thing about gratitude is you've got to feel it.
Yes.
You've really got to embody the feeling of gratitude and being grateful and thankful for whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I truly was thankful for the experience because through my cancer journey, and I've been coaching for a long time, and I teach this stuff, yet sometimes the things that we need to teach are also the things we need to learn. Yeah. And I needed to completely and totally love myself.
Yeah.
And so therein was the blessing through the trauma, through the tragedy, through the challenges.
Yeah.
There was a blessing there. And that was loving myself completely and totally.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. So let's see, the second part of your question.
Yeah, let me just interrupt you there, just to reiterate to our listeners, because one of the things that you brought up was in the gratitude practice that you really need to feel it.
Yes.
And one of the things that I talk about in my opt-in video is that the first thing I want to give the viewers permission to do by talking about moving from trauma to trust is that implicitly acknowledges that there will be a time when you're going through a really difficult phase where you may not have trust and where you may not be able to pull up that gratitude, which is why a summit like this or a private Facebook group that we will create or working with coaches helps, because there will be other people to hold you in that space while you are without gratitude or while you're without faith. So I just want to just reiterate that there are times in our life when we can't reach in and get that trust, but there will always be people around you to hold that space for you.
Absolutely. I love that you said that. And one thing I wanted to mention when you talked about how sometimes when we're going through things, it can be challenging to even find and feel gratitude.
Yeah.
One of the things that I did when I was at my worst was I turned my gratitude jar into a success jar. And instead of looking at all the things, writing something down I was thankful for and putting it and feeling it and putting it in the jar and then reviewing it, at the end of the month, like I used to do with my kids, I pivoted and I said, okay, Tandy, what is one thing that went well today?
Yeah.
Just one thing that went well. It could be I woke up.
Yeah.
It could be that
I can breathe.
I can breathe. Yeah. It can be I can walk.
Yeah.
It can be whatever it is. It's the littlest thing. Don't dismiss the littlest things. You got to embrace the big and the little. And I would write down on a piece of paper one thing that went well that day. And then I would throw it in the container. And then at the end of each week, I would pull them out. And that's when I would sit and really feel. I could then reach into feeling appreciation at that point and feeling the gratitude for something that went well that week. So that's just a little trick, that I've used to help get to a place of gratitude.
Awesome. So the next thing I'd asked you about was how you've helped your clients.
Yes. Whew. So I have helped clients who have been family caregivers and taking care of their parents. And I help them to ditch the overwhelm, to find self-care, to develop boundaries, and to learn all the things that they need to know going into a family caregiving journey. I have helped women primarily with mindset challenges, and they're stuck and they're unable to move forward with their passion and their purpose in life. And we work through and navigate those issues, and I help them see and get clarity around that, and ditch the overwhelm and get rid of all the limiting beliefs.
What are some of the tools that you use with them?
What's that?
What are some of the tools that you use with them?
Sure. Hypnosis is one. So that's definitely one. I've also used tapping, depending on the client. And then just coaching. I'm able to really take a look at what somebody says and dissect that and figure out what might be behind that. And it's a lot of coaching. It's a lot of asking questions and listening, asking questions and listening and repeating that process, until you get to the heart of the matter. I'm also, I would say, pretty intuitive. I wouldn't say I'm, psychic or anything like that. Well, I think we all are to a certain degree, but I am, I'm pretty intuitive. And so I use that to my advantage as well when working with clients and really tuning in to what spirit is saying, and what they need. And I give my clients homework. So those are some.
Talk to us about some of the clients that stand out in your mind, who you've helped through some really difficult times. And
So one client was severely depressed. I would say on the verge of suicidal thoughts.
Wow.
To the point where they had actually had planned out how they were going to kill themselves. And I was able to work with this person, and through hypnosis, through listening, through really exploring the reasons behind the,
Yeah.
the feelings. We were able to really clear those out. I helped him to develop courage,
Yeah.
and self-love. And he was in a situation where he was taking care of his parents,
Yeah.
and he had been depressed most of his life, and he had not yet told his dad that he was gay. He hadn't come out.
Yeah.
And I helped him through that, and helped him to see why that was important, and how he was honoring himself in doing that. And I handheld him through the process of telling his dad, who was
Wow.
dying at the time.
Wow.
And his dad, was so graceful about it. And he knew,
Yeah.
and yet he didn't say anything, but he knew. And he was just glad that his son was open with him and honest with him.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was a huge, huge, huge situation.
Yeah.
Another was one of my clients and her husband were having trouble conceiving.
Mm.
And I still get chills when I think about this. And I used hypnosis,
Uh-huh.
and primarily hypnosis and coaching with her. And she and her husband had gone through IVF treatments
Yeah.
multiple times, and they decided they only had enough money and energy for one more try.
Yeah.
And I coached her through letting go of the outcome,
Mm-hmm.
letting go of wanting it to work out a particular way.
Yeah.
Because, and I coached her around, you be concerned with the what,
Mm-hmm.
and you trust
Yeah.
and have faith
Yeah.
that the how is going to reveal itself.
Yeah.
And whether you adopt, whether you have children naturally, whatever it is, you've got to trust. You've got to trust that the universe has your back, and that the more that you can just let go of being attached to the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
And so I coached her through that. So
Yeah.
she was able to really detach from the outcome.
Yeah.
So when they walked into the doctor's office and tried again with their last two, and it took. And they were pregnant with twins, and her twins are now 6 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And we still stay in touch, but she is, and with her too, because she was in my sphere of influence with my, as a client, I actually had a dream about her, and I dreamed she was having twins.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I had never been in her house before, but I told her exactly what her house looked like, the rooms. I could see the toys and where they set everything up. And she was like, oh my gosh, you've never been in my house. How do you know? I'm like, I'm just saying, like, this is what I get.
Yeah.
So anyway, I helped her through that. Another client was really unable to get clients. She was really stuck, and she had a lot of limiting beliefs about her worthiness and deservability around money. And so we worked through those, and I coached her around that. And so, one of the things that a tip that I would share is, if someone that's watching this or listening to this has something that they want in life.
Yeah.
And, one of the questions I would ask is, on a scale of 0% to 100%, 100% being completely and totally believable, 0% being I have zero faith that this can happen for me. What is that believability scale for you? And if it's less than 60 or 70%, you need to work on. The other thing, the other part of that is what is your level of deservability? So there's the believability that it could happen, and then there's the deservability in terms of, am I worthy factor?
Yeah.
And I go through that same process, and then we just work through whatever's coming up, and do that.
And what you said, you give your clients homework. What types of homework do you give them?
Well, it depends on the person. Sometimes it's a common one is boundaries. A lot of us, particularly women, have trouble setting boundaries that work. And so I ask them to start small. And, we talk about a boundary or a person in their life that they need to set a better boundary around. And we chat through that, and we develop an action plan. And I'll even role play with them, and we'll, I get them used to the idea of truly loving themselves and knowing that they're worth the boundary. And then part of coaching is accountability. Having an accountability partner, someone that's going to hold your feet to the fire. And if someone's paying to have somebody hold them be accountable, they're generally going to follow the advice. And so boundaries is a big one. Another area that often comes up is self-care and self-love. Self-love and self-care are kind of intertwined. If people are not taking care of themselves from a self-care perspective, on some level, at some point, it's a self-love issue. So we get to the heart of that, and then we take small baby steps on, okay, what can you do this week to give yourself self-care? It could be wash your face. It could be anything. But the idea is getting in the practice, getting in the habit. It's developing new habits, developing new mindset.
And one of the things that often happens when people go through a really difficult period in their life is there is this story that it's because they deserve it, which could be a thing about, amongst Hindus, it might be something about the past life or karma, or what is going on amongst, other faiths have similar thoughts about, you deserve this, or that, along with that goes this thought about if you're happy for a certain amount of time, you're almost expecting something to go wrong in a certain sense, because you don't have this trust that life is always unfolding in your favor. And so those, I suspect, would be big things that you often work with people with.
Absolutely. And so often we worry about things that never come to fruition. And we can only choose one thought, one feeling, one vibration, one frequency at a time. And so I ask, people, do they choose love, or do they choose fear or worry? And of course, people want to choose love. So, okay, what can we do to eliminate the worry or minimize the worry and the fear, around this? And, often they're irrational fears, and 99% of the time, none of it ever happens. And
as you said, it is often a reflection of lack of self-love, or, the existence of this idea that you're not good enough and you're not worthy. While you were talking about washing your face, I have a set of 3 videos in which I talk about how people can do small things to begin to show themselves that they love themselves. I developed something called radical self-acceptance, and one of the exercises I talk about is even it's sort of like what Louise Hayes does
Yes.
about, looking in the mirror, looking into your eyes, and just, even just cupping your face as if you would cup a child's face, and saying, I love you. And even if it is 2 minutes, if you say, people might say, you don't have time, I've got kids to, send to school, I've got this and I've got that. And I said, it could even be just sitting in the car, and the first thing you do is lower your visor, look in the mirror, and do it. If you don't have that 1 minute to give to yourself, who is going to give it to you?
Right.
And so I think it seems so logical when you talk about it like that, but we build so many barriers on doing these things that will show us that we're worthy. And of course, when we refuse to show ourselves that we are worthy, the world reflects that back to us.
Right.
So
that's right.
Yeah. So thank you for bringing that up, and also the issue with boundaries, which I know a lot of viewers are certainly facing.
Yeah.
So as I mentioned, we have a Facebook group that we'll be creating. It'll be a private Facebook group, and some of the things that we will be doing in that will be posting links to the free gift that you will have for our viewers and listeners. So let's talk about what that is and what you have for the listeners and what they can expect at that link.
Sure. So I've got a variety of different gifts, but one that I think would be really valuable is something along the lines of what we've been talking about, which is self-care. I have a self-care checklist, and I've separated out ideas, simple and easy ideas for exercising self-care in the 4 areas of life. So I've got a list of physical, things for physical self-care, emotional, spiritual, and financial. Okay. And people can grab that at bit.ly/self-care list.
Okay, yeah, we'll have the link. So you don't have to worry about remembering that link, but we'll have that there. And also, if they come to your website, so what are all the types of services that you provide for clients?
Of course. So I have, I offer one-on-one coaching. Okay. That's the biggest. And then I also offer group coaching through a couple of different programs that I have, an Unleash Your Greatness program and a Leadership Rockstar program. And I am working on, but it's not done yet, a membership site, an online membership site. And I do a ton of writing. And so my website has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of articles around all kinds of things, around personal and professional development. So, people can check all that stuff out for free as well.
Sure. So just so that the viewers know again, that when you log into the free private Facebook group, you will have a page, a link to Tandy's website. You'll have a link to Tandy's free gift, and you'll be able to explore more with her. And for a limited time, she'll also be able to interact with you in case you have questions and would like to interact personally with her. So we will be allowing that as well.
Yes.
So Tandy, we are at about 45 minutes or so. So I'd like to take this time to sort of wrap up and talk about your final thoughts about moving from trauma to trust and recapturing faith and living a life of power, passion, and purpose.
Yes. Thank you for that. That's such an important topic. And I guess my final thoughts around this are that, I said it before, the universe always has our back. Yeah. And when we can let go of being attached to the outcome and simply be present to what is and trust that that all is unfolding in divine order, as it always has been and it always will be.
Yeah.
Then we can relax and settle into the current experience and choose love, and always look for ways to find proof that trust and faith is working and it's happening. I love that. Yeah.
Thank you. And the fact, viewers, that you are here, that you're listening to a summit like this, is also proof that the universe has your back, because there are people who care enough to take time off their day to come and talk to us and make sure that you feel held while you're going through this process. So I just want to reiterate that the fact that you're here is proof that life is unfolding in your favor. So thank you, Tandy. Thank you so much for taking the time. This has been a wonderful interview, and I'm sure that a lot of our viewers will have questions for you and will be accessing your the gift, and we will be in touch.
Sounds good. I look forward to being a part of the Facebook group and answering any questions.
Thank you.